I sat on my porch this morning watching the fog slowly rise from the trees, and it washed over me all at once. I am 80 years old. In the quiet of this house, the silence no longer feels like emptiness. It feels like a room filled with echoes. In the quiet of this house, the silence no longer feels like emptiness. It feels like a room filled with echoes. Over these long decades, I've watched the world reshape itself. But more than that, I've watched people drift away. My parents, my siblings, the friends I once laughed with, and the person I believed would be beside me until the very last breath. They're all gone now. At this age, you start to feel like a ghost walking through a world that belongs to the young. You watch them hurry, worry, chase things that, from where I stand, look as small as grains of sand. Sometimes they ask what it feels like. Sometimes they look at me with pity, as though being the last one left is only sadness. But there is a quiet truth to reaching this age that no one tells you until you arrive here. When life strips everything and everyone away, what's left is not emptiness. It is what's real. If you're younger than me, listen closely. If you're close to my age, sit beside me for a moment. I want to talk about the things that don't disappear. The things that stay when the house grows still and the phone stops ringing. I learned that we don't truly own anything or anyone. In my middle years, I believed my life was defined by what I built, my work, my home, my name. I protected those things as if they would last forever. But now I look at my hands and they are empty. And somehow that feels peaceful. I've seen houses sold, careers forgotten by people who never knew my name. What lasts isn't the award on the shelf, but the person you became while trying to earn it. The people we love are never ours to keep. They are only entrusted to us for a little while. When you stop clinging and start simply experiencing them, grief softens. It becomes gratitude for the time you were given. What remains is the love you offered, because that kind of love never fades or gets boxed away in an attic. Life, I've learned, isn't shaped by the big victories. It is stitched together from ordinary moments. If I could return to my younger days, I wouldn't chase more success. I would pay more attention. I would linger over coffee, listen longer to birdsong, breathe slower. In the end, what remains is a collection of small moments that turned out to be everything. Solitude was once the hardest part. When the house emptied and the voices disappeared, I was left alone with myself. Most of us spend our lives running from that encounter. But at this age, you sit with yourself, and in that sitting, you discover a quiet strength. What remains is the home you build within your own heart. When you make peace with who you are, old age no longer frightens you. It becomes a kind of sanctuary. People ask whether I have regrets, and of course I do. Only someone dishonest would say otherwise. But there is a difference now between regret and remorse. I regret the chances I never took, the words of love I swallowed, because of stubborn pride. Yet, what lingers most deeply is remorse for the moments I failed to be kind. We spend so much of life fighting to be right, guarding our egos, holding on to grudges that eventually outlive everyone involved. As names in my address book faded away, I realized that winning an argument is the loneliest victory there is. What remains is the understanding that kindness was always the better choice. If you have someone you can call today, call them, not to solve anything, but simply to say you're grateful they exist. One day, they won't be there, and none of the rest will matter. There is a strange grace in watching the world move forward without you. At first, I felt pushed aside, as though life had forgotten me. But with time, I understood. It's meant to continue. My place now is to witness, to see the same light in my grandson, as eyes that once lived in my father Is. I am one small thread in a much larger tapestry, and there is freedom in letting go of the need to be important. What remains is the joy of watching life renew itself, knowing that part of my story lives on, quietly inside others. So when the world grows quiet and the people you love have gone, what remains is gratitude. A deep, aching gratitude for simply having been here at all. For loving, even when it meant losing. For waking to thousands of sunrises and learning, at last, that darkness is only light moving into another room. Don't wait until you reach my age to discover what truly stays. It's already here. In the breath you just took. In the person sitting near you. In the quiet voice inside your own chest. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. If these words touched you, pass them along to someone you care about. And tell me, what is one thing you've learned to treasure as you've grown older? Your words make the house feel just a little less silent.